Hey everybody, this is Nat C. Jones with Nat C Company, and today I have with me none other than Minister Neal Jones, all the way from Macedonia Missionary Baptist Church. How are you, sir?
I'm doing good, And you?
Doing good. And also today again, we have Amari with us. Say, hey, baby. Okay, so if y'all hear some noise in the background, it's him. I'm feeding him. Yes, I'm keeping him company today. So first things first, Mr. Jones, introduce yourself and your role at Macedonia Missionary Baptist Church.
You said it. I'm the youth director and youth minister here in Macedonia Missionary Baptist Church in Eatonville, Florida.
Okay, and what is your mission for the youth at Macedonia?
Oh, our mission is for the youth is to continue the Great Commission found in Matthew 28 to help build disciples by equipping them with the tools needed to be able to know who they are in God and Christ and who God is, and not just in the four walls. So just trying to, like I say, equip them with the tools needed to be confident to share the gospel. That's pretty much it.
How long have you been on this walk of faith? How long have you been saved?
How long have I been saved? Like for real saved? Probably since I was about 19.
19. Okay, thank you. Some people say I've been saved since I was 2 years old. I was like, you didn't even know
I'm not gonna
what
say
it
all
was
that.
when you were 2 years old. Thank you for keeping it 100 with us. 19, that sounds like a good age. And what is the most memorable part of you making that transition into salvation and walking with God?
I don't think I have a most memorable part. No.
Well, how did it happen? How did you come to that decision?
I think it was I guess the first thing that comes to mind, I think it was just time to get serious about it. You know, if I wanted to see the benefits of it, it's just some things you can't do and some things you have to start doing. I guess I just made up my mind just to start doing certain things in a more intentional way, you know, and not just being a Sunday Christian. I don't think it was you know, earthquake cave moment for me like that. It was really based upon a decision. Pretty much how I preach and teach and write is like it's your decision. Like no one's gonna make you be saved. No one's gonna make you do it. You don't have to do it. It's really your choice. And I think that's why a lot of the videos I do and how I teach, I tell folk, I'm not gonna beat you over the head about it. Either you're gonna because God's not going to. So that's how it came for me. It was pretty much you know what, I think I'm gonna do this right or just do it. Honestly, I don't think it was I know some people say, hey, you know, it was a cold winter night, lightning struck, and I heard doom. You know, I was like, I ain't have all that.
Right. Well,
I didn't. In all honesty, I did. And I've never told you I did either. So
what has been your greatest surprise, something that took you off guard that you learned about the youth of this generation in regards to their faith walk?
they don't have it. Then they haven't been instructed to have it. They haven't been encouraged to have it at home. And a lot of it is on their surroundings to help them do the right thing. I see kids still being kids, no more or less than how I was a kid. Don't know much, trying to figure stuff out, what's cool, what's not. But what's surprising is because we have such an expansive history of what has happened when the child is left to themselves to figure stuff out. The surprise is that parents are still leaving their children to themselves to figure out life and priorities, you know. So a lot of these kids are really just they just don't know. They're left up to their own. It's like the parents like, well, I brought you to church. You should know something by now. And it's like, nah, that's not the case.
Wow. That's kind of
So,
like taking your children to school and thinking it's solely the teacher's responsibility to make sure that your child succeeds.
yeah. And the stats don't even show it. Stats show that most kids come to Christ before the age of 18. And after the age of 18, they have like a 17% chance of receiving Christ. You know, the stats show that.
Wow,
So
really?
it's me. Yeah, the stats show that. Like it's called a 4 to 14 window for youth. You have between the ages of 4 to 14 to get your child saved to a point where they'll be able to have it, they will walk with it. You know, after the age of 14, it diminishes. It's like you have like an 85% chance of your child getting saved between the age of 4 and 14. After 14, it diminishes to like 30%. And after 18, diminishes to like 17 or even less than that. So
Wow.
stats show it. And that's why I said with all the things that are out here, with the information that we have, in the age of information, people are still not taking advantage of things that we have to be able to help our kids with education, with Christianity, belief and all. Well, mainly Christianity, because you see, Buddhists don't play that.
Right.
Muslims don't play that.
No.
They're not playing that. The Jehovah's Witnesses, they ain't playing that. They getting their child involved very early. Scientologists, they get them involved and committed quick. Um, so
So what is the difference? Why is it, do you think that Christians are just more lax, or do you think they don't really care about the salvation of their children, or is it a cultural thing where they, okay, that's what you think, Amari? Sorry about that. Or do you think it's a cultural thing where they believe that they're going to be okay because their children, are they just not educated? Like, why aren't the parents more involved in their children's faith?
they haven't had a valuable walk with Christ themselves. I mean, I don't think it's because I think they're lax because of that. I think they haven't had a value for themselves. It's like uh I read those books, Rich Dad, Poor Dad, Think and Grow Rich, all those things that nature that lead that, and in those books it talks about how each of them had a father that was like, I'm going to show you and teach you how to do these things for yourself, whether regardless, especially in that book Think and Grow Rich, when he talked about how his son had a bone that was over his ear, I believe that book was, and how he
Yeah,
spoke
I
to his
remember
son and said, I think chapter 3 in that book talks about faith itself, and he showed how the implementation of that has to go on through um, generations. That wasn't his message, but that was in the book. So I think it's a matter of just being able to see that if you had an experience for yourself that was valuable enough, you would have shared it with your child, you know, and that's why they're not
that.
doing
Yeah,
it.
I
And
agree.
so I mean, if they, Muslims are like, you're gonna get it. When? I don't know when, but you're gonna say this prayer, you're gonna go through this Ramadan, you'll be all right. You know.
So if they're not teaching the children about God, what are they teaching their children from your experience? What are
I
the
mean, that's
children
that's household to
seeing?
household. I mean, that's
Yeah.
what they're gonna teach their children, that whatever they show them, whatever they value,
So the kids
So
aren't listening as much as they're watching and following example.
I I, I think they're doing all of it. I mean, I don't. I think absolutely all of it. They watching and they listening the same. That's how they get their ideas. You
Yeah.
know, it's like if I show my child how to play football, and he said, okay, you was a defensive lineman, I want to do quarterback. All right, you're still playing football, you're just doing it a different way.
Right, right. It's
So
a
they
value.
they huh?
It's a value.
Yeah, it's a value, 100%. So I think they watching. I think they listen. They doing all of that. Absolutely. They just, but they taking it as they get it and then making up their own thing to do with it.
How do you feel about the culture right now in regards to children when it comes to them
What
being
culture? Like church
like
culture,
not
or just
church culture, but world culture in regards to children and the things that they're being faced with, like choosing their own gender, the way they question God. Like, what do you see happening out there in the culture of the world that's impacting children and their faith? And has it crept into the church?
I think the culture is just how you say they oversaturate stuff, so it's hard to miss it. They just put so much out there over and over and over again that sooner or later, they're gonna feel like either they with it or against it. Has it crept into the church? I mean, as long as there's people in the church, it's gonna creep in. That's just the Bible. The Bible tells us that from the book. The New Testament period, Old Testament. God even told them, hey, when you get to the promised land, do not fool with them people when you get there. Don't mix with them, or they gonna corrupt you. And that's been man's issue for a while, being able to be strong, to be intentionally and forcefully obedient. Like, this is what we're gonna do regardless. So I don't think stuff creeping in is the issue. I think people having a lack of foundation is the issue.
So what is your greatest concern for the youth of this generation, based on what you've been hearing from the kids that you work with? I know it's not just about them, but also their peers and what they're being exposed to. What is your number one concern for the youth of this generation?
Like I said, with the culture, the oversaturation of stuff, they just see a whole bunch of stuff, and because it's everywhere.
So what advice would you have for parents then to help their children, besides getting more involved in teaching them about the word? What else do they need to be looking out for? Or what tools can they use to help make sure that their children are on the right track?
All I could do is tell a parent to educate yourself, pay attention, be open, realize you're not right, and the child is not either. Y'all got to figure some stuff out together sometime, but just really just continue to educate yourself, because we talk about these kids dealing with stuff we never had to think about. Yeah, it's not about agreeing with them. It's about knowing what's going on. I'm not agreeing with these kids, but what they talk about, what they do, I'm not. That's not my place. I talk to them the same way I'm talking now, and I tell them, like I told them a couple weeks ago, I said, all your discernment is off because you don't know nothing. I appreciate you, but you're 14. 8 years ago, you were 6. You could barely hold your head up. So I'm supposed to believe you know how to make a good decision for your life at 8, at 14. You couldn't spell 6 years ago, and now you make decisions. Ain't no way. Your discernment's off. So that's how I talk to them. I'm not gonna sit here and be like, I think you make the good decisions. No, you can't. You're not. You can't. And I told them. I said, it's not to your detriment, but you're 15. You don't know nothing.
Yeah.
Now you can have. You think you do, but it takes a parent to be like, well, I don't want them to feel the kind of way. Bump that. They don't know nothing.
Mm-hmm.
And you keep thinking they do know something. Oh, they made the right decision. Did you? I had to make the right decision because I knew my mom, mom, she'll pull up.
Mm-hmm.
So ain't supposed to be. My mama will come to the club and I don't have to deal with my daddy.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? My daddy wasn't crazy, but he was just very final.
Right.
Like, did you do it? Yeah. Well, this is what happened because you did it. It wasn't without love. It was just like, well, if you ain't do it, I would have to do this.
Well, do you think culture-wise we're getting away from that tough love parenting, that old school parenting, and what kind of impact is that having on the kids? Are they missing out?
No, I don't think it's tough. I don't think it's missing. It had to evolve. The parenting had to evolve. Because these kids have more access to different things. They have different perspective on some stuff. Shoot, 1997, 98, I didn't have access to nothing but what they paid for cable.
I had an encyclopedia.
That's right. You know what I'm saying? So I didn't have access to anything outside of what my dad and my mom paid for me to watch. And we had to watch TV together because there was one TV in the house. And my parents had TV in the room. You know what I mean? Now, we'd be at the house, the girls on their phone, watching stuff. You watching stuff in the room. I'm on, we doing different stuff. We looking at all kinds of stuff. Parents have to evolve and understand that, hey, like, I do with the girls. I'll be like, all right, give up the phone. No phone for the rest of the night. You know what I'm saying? They're like, after a certain time, or if they're on the phone for 45 minutes, all right, you're off the phone for 2 hours.
Right.
They don't even argue it no more. Put the phone down. Just come sit around with us. What I'm supposed to do? I'm bored. Be bored with us.
Right.
Because they can't just be on their phone all day, as we know.
Yeah.
But I tell the girls in a heartbeat, 5 o'clock, no more phone, no more tablet.
research a while ago for our girls mentoring program back in the day. And I think they said at that time, kids spend 9 hours a day on their phones or on the internet, on social media. It was one of those. It said something to do with technology. It was a lot. It was more
It's
hours
too
than they
much.
spent sleeping on technology. And it's this technology and social media and all that, that's a beast to contend with. Like knowing how to do it, how to manage it, how to protect your children, because they're just one click away from seeing all kinds of stuff.
Yeah, get them
And I mean,
off of it.
they have filters, but they know how to get around that stuff.
Yeah, they do. And you can get all kind of apps to time it. I know my sister, she has a thing of how much time a child can spend on there, and they got to ask for more time. And I'm like, I ain't doing all that. You're going to get off of it after a certain time, point blank in the story. You know, and if you got a problem with it, go read a book, write a book about it, but you're not going to be on it. You know, and I think parents just got to evolve. Like, shoot, back in the day, like I said, 1997, we knew on Fridays, that was the best time of the week, TGIF. You know, you had the Full House, Step by Step, Hanging Mr. Cooper, and Family Matters. You know, on Wednesdays, we had the WB or UPN.
The
You
best
know,
shows, all the
you
best shows
know,
in the 90s.
but WB, you had Hanging Mr. Steve Harvey show, Wayne
Yeah,
Bros,
I forgot about the WB.
Moesha,
Yeah,
and
a
and the
lot of good
Parkers.
shows. Yeah.
You know, we had that on Wednesdays, and then Friday TGIF, and then Mondays you had Fresh Prince, Bill Cosby, and Blossom. You know, little stuff like that. That we knew
Yeah.
what we was gonna watch
Oh
on those
my
certain
God.
days. You know, but other than that, we was outside. But now, I think parents just don't want to educate themselves, and I don't blame them because, as you know me, you ain't got to. But by all means, you don't have to. Somebody will. So don't come to me asking me, praying about my baby need help. Or what have you taught them? What have you allowed them to do? Because I can't just unwind what you put that child in. I
Right.
can't do it.
What can parents expect for their kids to receive if they come to Macedonia and they allow their kids to be a part of the youth ministry? What kind of experience can they expect for their children to receive with you?
That's a good question. What kind of experience? I teach my lessons just like this. So I mean, I don't have like a whole bunch of lights and stuff, or I don't have none of that. Um, we're gonna have some donuts, talk about the word, and I ask questions. That's an open environment. I bring a lesson. I do the lessons throughout the week on the YouTube, but it's really just trying to just come and learn and be better. I mean, that's all. That's how you become a disciple, and that's how you make disciples. Realizing that I'm not further along than you because of anything special in life. I just decided to respond to God differently, and I want to help you respond the way however God needs you to respond, whatever God wants you to do. You know, if you need to make a business or you need to go to law school, and you do whatever God got you to do. But in the end, just honor God, and this is the way He got me to do it. For right now, I dare not tell you what's next. I don't. Whatever he wants, that's how that goes. So
What is something that you wish that adults knew about the kids of this generation? Something that you know that a lot of adults may not know? What's something that you could share with them about the youth of this generation?
they're still a kid. Man, a kid in the '70s is still a kid in 2020s. They still kids. They still want the same kind of things. They have different ways of getting them. But I would tell a parent, don't overthink the process. Talk to a kid and let kids still going through the same thing you went through when you was a kid. So you just got to talk. You got to be creative of how you approach them, but they still a kid. I
Right.
mean,
No
that's
matter
tough.
how big they are, because these kids are big.
Yeah, I was a big kid.
Sometimes
You
people
know,
forget their kids when they look at how big they are.
yeah, they kids. They making mistakes, and they feel like everybody sees it. No different than when the kid made a mistake back in the '80s and '90s, and everybody knows about it now. And you be like, everybody don't know. They gonna forget by tomorrow because something else gonna happen. I mean, there's no different. Kid's still a kid.
So finally, if there's some young people watching, what's an encouraging word that you can give to them?
I'll just tell them that you are enough. Know that and believe it, and just know you're enough. You don't need nothing more, nothing less. I'm big on that. You know, you don't need nothing more, nothing less than what God has given you. He's given you enough to know that you are enough. I'm really big on that, you know.
All right. Well,
Um,
thank you for stopping by and being some of Nat C's company today. And this is the time, go ahead, you can share with everybody whatever information they need to know about how to connect with you, what time services start at Macedonia if they want their kids to get involved. Go ahead, have at it.
Best way to connect me is email me at njones@mdonia.org. We have service here every Sunday at 9 a.m. I get the kids every Sunday around 9:30. Come upstairs with us from kindergarten to 12th grade, and we have our lessons, and we have a good time. You can catch us here at 412 East Kennedy Boulevard in Edenville, Florida. And we are the only church on this side of the road.
All right, thank you so much. Thanks
See you.
again. Say bye. Thanks again for stopping by. Thank y'all for listening, and I'll see you next time. Bye. Say bye.
Samari. Hey, Heavy.
Say hey. Oh, his head keep disappearing. Say hey. He's not looking. Okay. All right. Let me go change this diaper.
All right.
All right. Thank you.